Dear students, welcome to this module. This module is on marketing management. As we all know, the term marketing encompasses service activities and is an intangible property. According to American Marketing Association, marketing is an organizational function and is a set of process for creating, communicating and delivering the value to customers and for managing the customer relationships in ways that benefit the organization and also to its stakeholders. The vast majority of hospitality establishments, however, are operated to generate return on investment in the form of profits or exercise the revenue. After going through this module, you will be able to understand the salient features and the need for marketing in food service organizations, compile the various elements of marketing and its role as management function. The factors that define marketing is a focus on exchange that takes place between a producer and consumer. Before there was a monetary system, people would barter or exchange goods and services rather than money. Barter system is an old traditional practice which consisted of process of exchanging goods and services rather than the money. Now the marketing has grown and has seen tremendous changes, and marketing management is the organizational discipline that focus on practical application of marketing orientation techniques and methods inside the enterprise and organizations and on the management of a firm's marketing resource and activities. Now let us see the definition of marketing in the Indian context. It says, in the Indian context, requiring greater productivity, consciousness in view of our limited resources, marketing management may be better defined as the process of ascertaining the consumer needs, converting them into products and services, and then moving the products or services to final consumer, the user, to satisfy such needs and wants of a specific customer segment, and emphasize on profitability, ensuring the optimum use of all the resources available within the organization. Besides emphasizing the consumer orientation, this definition on Indian context stresses two additional aspects, namely the profitability and also the optimum use of the available resources. The ever increasing globalization of the hospitality and tourism industry, the hospitality firms have to make up to remain competitive in this global marketplace. Next to see is the marketing mix and its strategies. The marketing manager's job is thus to identify the varying customer needs, provide products or services aimed at satisfying such needs, and they move to the product or service. With the help of appropriate strategies in the area of product planning, pricing, physical distribution and promotion, so that the final result is twofold. And especially the marketing mix we call as 4 P's: product, price, place and promotion, and it all encompasses in two folds, namely the consumer satisfaction and at the other end as profitability of the operation. Next we will see about the marketing management cycle. Thus, marketing is an ongoing and continuous process and needs a constant attention to be successful, and also here comes the management role in maintaining the marketing efforts, which is much more critical. The marketing management cycle consists of 3 aspects: the market planning, the marketing execution and marketing evaluation. Marketing planning comprises the goals and objectives of the marketing concepts, and it must be always precise, clear and have measurable targets. These goals and objectives should be consistent with the food service industry's mission statement. The second cycle consists of the marketing execution. After planning, execution happens. Once the objectives, strategies are determined, the next step is to implement the actions planned, developed during the planning process. This is actually accomplished using the promotional, advertising, personal selling, direct materials marketed and methods that were developed in the earlier stage, which is the marketing planning. The last and the final step in the marketing cycle is complete with marketing evaluation. The final step in the marketing management cycle is to monitor and keep control the elements of the marketing plan that has happened in the previous cycles. The food service organization's performance need to be analyzed in comparison with goals and objectives, looking for the difference between the performance goals and the actual performance. The effectiveness of the marketing programs include the strategies for pricing, promotion, distribution of its products and services, and can be compared with sales, market share values, and with customer satisfaction. Finally, at this point, the food service can return to the planning stage of the marketing management cycle and make desired changes in the cycle with its planned objectives and strategies. Thus, it is a cycle that keeps continuing again and again. The important strategies in marketing management are thus the planning, organizing, motivating, and controlling in different areas. Planning in marketing as the economical and social justification for the company's existence in the satisfaction of customer wants, the elements of the marketing mix, that is the 4 P's in marketing, namely the product, price, place and promotion, should all be directed towards the customer needs. Planning should be aimed at the customer, and it starts with the customer as well as finishes with the customer in terms of ensuring the customer satisfaction from the use of the product or the service that is purchased. Product planning and objectives can be defined as the act of marketing out and supervising the search, screening, development and commercialization of new products, the modification of existing lines and the discontinuation that happens between the marginal or the unprofitable items. Thus, product planning involves 3 important considerations, namely the development, introduction of new products, the modification and improvement of existing lines as required by the changing consumer needs and preferences, and also the discontinuance or elimination of marginal and unprofitable products. In case of product diversification, there are different reasons or objectives for which such diversification is undertaken. For example, when a food service company may diversify with its view to take advantage of the existing reputation of the food service, to use more effectively the company's existing selling and distribution channels, to increase the sale of existing products, to meet the needs of the distribution channels, and also to meet the customer request, particularly in case of the industrial goods. Now, next element is the pricing objective. The pricing strategy will naturally depend on what the management wants the pricing policies to do for the company, that is the pricing objectives. Management may want this pricing policy to skim the cream or make huge profits initially, as in case of a novelty item with a short life, to obtain rapid market penetration for the product with a low price, to also discourage the potential competitors by pricing low and making it unattractive for them to enter into the market, to achieve a target rate of return on investment, and also to maximize the profits in terms of demand. So all these becomes the objectives of pricing. The third component, which is the physical distribution, that is the place, includes its objective as physical distribution objective. Again, in the area of distribution or the selection of channels of distribution, it is necessary to ascertain the degree of market exposure required so that a selection could be made of the type of channel of distribution which would be appropriate for our products and services. Basically, there are three types of physical distribution objectives, namely intensive distribution, selective distribution and exclusive distribution. The intensive distribution objectives seeks to secure the maximum product exposure by selling the product through as many outlets as are willing to stock it. This policy is normally appropriate in the case of low priced mass consumer convenience goods. As against this, we have another type, which is the selective distribution policy, which seeks to restrict the distribution outlet to those who can do an effective job worth the product or service. When this selection process is extended to the extreme, it results in exclusive distribution, where say only one outlet is selected for a given geographical market. In this way, the degree of exposure intensity declines as one proceeds from the intensive to the selective and ultimately to the third one, which is the exclusive type of distribution strategies. And the fourth element of marketing mix is the promotional objectives. In this area of promotion, objectives also very much crystallized. Particularly in the areas of advertising and sales promotion, objectives are often not defined clearly and specifically. The objectives and purposes expected to be accomplished by advertising and sales promotion must be very much clearly determined. As an illustration, it is sufficient to state that the objective of our advertising is to sell product X. It is necessary to define the objectives more specifically, as for example, to communicate the specific qualities of the product X and gain a specific degree of penetration in a definite audience of a given size during a statement time period. So this all happens in the first phase, which is planning of the marketing process. Now, as we talk about the organizing process that happens in the marketing, once planning is effected, the next step is the management process, is to organize the activities of the enterprise with a view to attain the objectives so far crystallized. This organizing also has to be done with a customer oriented focus. Thus, organizing should start with the customer with a view to identifying the kind of customers at whom the marketing effort is to be directed and targeted. Organizing the product strategy and development. In the area of product strategy, decisions have to be taken regarding the product lines, that is, the introduction of new products or services, planning obsolescence, packaging and branding. The diversification, an important facet of organizing the product strategy, is product diversification, which is defined as the manufacture or distribution by a single company of more than one commodity. The product diversification can help increase the sales of the existing product or service or make more effective use of the company's selling and the distribution facilities. Now, when we talk about packaging, the packaging design is another important aspect in the product development process. From the manufacturer's viewpoint, these two important attributes are generally product and the economy. However, from the customer's viewpoint, the question of the convenience is of greater significance. He would also like to be offered options in the form of size and would also like to have packages that open easily. Packaging can also perform a useful promotion function and help to educate the customers. Next is the branding. Finally, branding is also an integral part of the product strategy. A brand be defined as a name, term, sign, symbol or design or combination of these, which is a group of seller, and to differentiate them from those of the competitors. A brand includes a brand name, a trademark, or even both. Rightly or wrongly, the customers often believe that the products and services of well-known brands are of higher quality than the products of unknown brands. Brands also serve to differentiate the various products and services, especially offered in the service industries like ours, the food service industries. The last component is the pricing strategy. In pricing also, steps have to be taken to produce the best results in terms of market segments towards whom the marketing efforts are directed, especially towards the customers. The Stanton organizes the procedure for price distribution into 6 steps as follows. Step 1 is to estimate the demand for the product. Step 2 is to anticipate the competitive reaction. Step 3 is to establish the expected share of the market. Step 4 is then to select the price strategy to be used to reach the market target. Step 5 to consider the company policy regarding products, channels, promotions and its services. And finally, the 6th step to select the specific price. So this is how the pricing strategies are usually done. Organizing the promotion strategies is necessary to determine the advertising budget as well as select the optimum media mix. Budget allocation is often determined on the basis of available funds or on the footing of competitor allocation, or more commonly as a percentage of sales. The best method would, however, be to allocate in terms of the objectives sought to be attained by the promotional efforts. It is also necessary to determine the right media, for example, the press, outdoor publicities, advertisings, literature, films, and so on, and the number of exposures that is required to popularize the product or service. Besides, a successful team has to be organized to coordinate all the advertising appeals. In addition, it is necessary to coordinate the sales promotion activities, especially for sectors like ours, which is the hospitality sector. Sales promotion in a specific sense may be defined as these marketing activities other than personal selling, advertising and publicity that stimulate the consumer purchasing and dealer effectiveness, such as display, show and exhibitions, demonstrations and various non-current selling efforts not in the ordinary routine. Finally, personal selling has also to be organized. Personal selling is defined as an oral presentation in conversation with one more prospective purchases for the purpose of the making sales. The next step in the management process is motivating for the process of marketing. And in terms of marketing can be viewed from 3 aspects: motivating the customers to use the products and services, motivating the sales or the marketing personnel, particularly sales force of the company, and motivating the distribution channels to make the products and services available to the customers wherever there is a demand. The best way to determine how to motivate the customers would be to begin with an analysis of the needs of the particular market segment aimed at to ascertain the relevant motives or drives which ought to be stimulated. This would enable the framing of suggestions on how such needs can be satisfied by purchasing the company's products or services. A careful listing in this regard of the appropriate motives can help the marketing team to design their product, pricing and promotional strategies in terms of their relevant motives. The motivating sales personnel, as in case of other personnel in the organization, the sales force, that is the marketing segment, requires adequate stimulation or motivation to put forward the maximum effort to achieve the company's objectives, especially the objective of the food service. The selling job is a difficult one. The salesman has often to face frustrations and observe irregular working hours. He is precluded from leading a normal family life. The aspect of motivation thus helps them gain a specific significance when considered the traveling sales force. Thus, the motivating the distribution channels is also an important criteria. Finally, the distribution channels can also be looked upon as human beings who can motivate rather than adopt the usual mechanistic approach of viewing them as links in a chain of distribution. And the last one is controlling in marketing. Finally, the next step in the management process is controlling the aimed at securing the achievements of the market plans. Every well-run company would want to operate as this would highlight the areas requiring the improvement. In this connection, it may be mentioned that in the author's survey of 200 executives in western part of our country, 40% of the respondents answered affirmatively to the question whether the evaluating each such function was either through sales performance or through periodical studies of market trends. In a few cases, this was also done by using scientific techniques or through reports from salesmen and the distribution channels. Now, the recent concept that we have to know in this marketing management related to our industry is the hospitality marketing mix. This hospitality marketing mix, as we have studied the traditional marketing mix, which consists of 4 P's: product, price, place and promotion, our hospitality marketing mix consists of 5 components. They are: number 1, product service mix; number 2, presentation mix; number 3, communication mix; number 4, pricing mix; and number 5, distribution mix. These are also important components of the hospitality marketing mix. Now, let us go through in detail what are these. The first one, the product service mix. This is a combination of all the products and services offered by the hospitality sector, including both the tangible and the intangible elements. The consumer has purchased and used these services and is mostly considered an intangible good. The second one is the presentation mix. This includes those elements that the marketing manager uses to increase the tangibility of the product, that is, the service mix as perceived by the consumer. This mix includes location, the atmosphere, and the personnel. The third one, which is the communication mix, this involves all communication that takes place between the hospitality operation and the consumer. It includes advertising, marketing research, and also the feedback about the consumer perception. The communication mix should be viewed as a two-way communication link rather than a one-way link. The food service operator seeks information and data from the consumer, thereby establishing an open communication with various market segments. The fourth one in the hospitality marketing mix is the pricing mix. The pricing mix encompasses the consumer's perception for value. The pricing mix includes such variables as voluminous discounts and bundling multiple products together for an overall discounted price. This bundling approach is that we usually see extensively used by fast food outlets as a method to increase the spending by the customer and also increase the income to the fast food outlets. The last element is the distribution mix. This includes all distribution channels available between the firm and the target market. Historically, the distribution channels occurred at the point of production or at the point of service, such as the restaurants the food was purchased and so on. This has changed since the newer distribution channels like computers and internets are used for various purposes of using the products and services. The factors that have influence on the distribution mix are consumer perceptions, attitudes and behavior, industry practices and trends, local competition, brand trends, government policies and legislations. So, these are all the components of the hospitality marketing mix that we should all be aware as a hospitality sector. Now, as a conclude to this module, Finally, it is the management's responsibility to understand the role of marketing within the food service organization. Also, it is important to understand the marketing interfaces with the other key result areas in the firm, such as operations, finance, human resources, research and development, as marketing focuses on the needs of the consumers, which is ever changing and is an outside inside perspective, and is referred as an outside inside perspective, as the production and service from the hospitality sector is well determined based on the consumer needs, wants and desires. Hope you learned through this module. Thank you.